They say you can't teach old dogs new tricks. I'm going to try to change that here on this channel. Now, I'm an old dog, but I'm going to try to do some new tricks. I've been finding trying to get stuff out the way I had been doing it might not be the most expedient way to get stuff out. Tech guys, the smart young guys told me I should change the way I do things. I kind of still like my pen and paper, do things like this, and this, and then it doesn't seem like it's the best way to get things out. So I'm going to try something different here. I'm going to put out a big podcast here with lots of film, and then I'm going to dice it up in the individual sections for basically people who want just one part, not the whole thing. I'll have chapters here. If you want to get the whole thing here, you can go through it. If not, it'll be broken down in individual pieces. This is a way I can kind of sit down, do it all at once, and not let stuff keep dragging out to the end of the week. So today I'm going to have a pretty big film study here. I'm going to have do a little quick hit on Justin Fields to show that this guy is just, when you look at our defense, you could say this, and this, but you got to just take into consideration what this kid does and how he alters things. And he's still kind of coming on the scene, so not everybody is hip, and they've never played him before, and they're not used to his speed. So I'm going to go do a little thing on that. Going to do something on Robert Jones at left guard, his play. I'm going to go over Shell at right tackle to kind of show certain keys to their play to see how they're developing, where they're going, and I'm going to give my little 2 cents after that. Going to do something on Jeff Wilson, his first game. Going to show some of his plays, kind of give the lowdown on how I see it. You'll have the film to make your own opinion. And then Kohou. I'm going to do a nice little, semi-long little thing on Kohou because this kid really impresses me. And I think in so many ways, his talent is going to end up driving Miami to something different down the road as far as the defense. But I'll get into that later. Tomorrow, I'm going to do Phillips and Chubb with a little spot on Tyndale. And then I'm going to have Wilkins and Sealer in there as well, and Tua. So I got all the film cut now, today, tomorrow, done, and then I'll move on to all the stuff, and I'll have all the film covered instead of letting it drag out all week. So before I get into the big study and all the hoo-ha, the brouhaha, as they say, I want to give you guys a shout-out for stopping by. I appreciate it because some of these ideas for this whole thing and a few other things I'm trying to come from you guys in the comments. I'm always grateful for everything you guys do. I just want to give a shout-out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without them and without you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white-label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, I'm just going to open up with a quick little picture. You can see it here. That was clearly pass interference. So some people saying, it didn't look too bad. Just for an instant, pretend we're in a playoff game, and it's the end of the playoff game, and the receiver getting held is Hill or Waddle, and the guy grabbing around the waist, crossing, is an opposing player, and the ref is standing there looking at it and doesn't throw a flag. Just picture that for a second. You cannot bear hug a receiver and restrict him from jumping up to meet the ball. Clearly pass interference. It doesn't mean we suck and we should have none of that stuff. I'm just trying to get you guys to see how bad this reffing is. How does that ref not see it? How does he not call it? Now, there were all the penalties that could have been called, should have been called on both sides. And all that. I'm not saying that. Just picture if the roles were reversed and that play kept us from going to the playoffs or kept us from advancing to the playoffs. Totally different take. So I just wanted to get that out of the way because a couple comments I had read were like, I don't know. I get it. When you're watching the live coverage, maybe, but I think that's ultra clear. So then I see a lot of people saying this defense sucks. I mean, it's hard not to say they suck in certain ways because they've given up so much points. But I don't believe in caveats. I believe that this defense is really playing with its hands tied behind its back. I like Kohou. Xavier's hurt. Byron's not here. And I want to say there's a certain level of this is why this defense is allowing so many points. But I can't put it all on that. There's missed tackles. This last game, really, to me, it was about Fields. This guy's, it snuck up on me. I didn't realize what this kid was doing. Saw a lot of the snippets, and I just, during the game found out they began running run plays for him. And that's really altered the way this kid plays. And this kid is fast, and he's agile, and he makes fast players look stupid. And you'll see that later on in some of the other film. But take a look at this film right here. All right, just look at this speed. I mean, he's in a trap here, fakes the pass, and look at him bend and dash, and guys are falling everywhere, and he breaks it and goes to the house. That's just a different kind of player. And you want to say what you want about the Dolphins defense, and you might have real points, but that is just insane speed and maneuverability, and I don't think the Dolphins had any idea of what they were facing. I bet you they do now. Without a doubt, there were some missed tackles. You could see there. But they were all lunging and grabbing. He weaved his way through 3 or 4 players. I mean, that is just on another level speed and maneuverability. And that's kind of like what it was all day. Phillips, who's so fast, I've shown him track down receivers and running backs, and you'll see some film tomorrow where he does it again. He underestimated the speed of Fields. And if you haven't played against somebody, it's hard to gauge them. And I think Fields really, because no one on this team had played him before, I don't believe, maybe in a college or something, but he took everybody by storm, took me by storm. I think he took this defense by storm. And I don't expect, say, in a second matchup, it to look exactly like this. I still think he would do well, but you got to just understand how difficult it is to deal with him. All day long, they had to play contain. They said, we play contain, but they just did not understand the speed. And I think a lot of the points that were scored, there's other reasons in other games. Last week, I thought it was just poor coverage and not enough pressure. But this week, I just really see it as Fields being special. I think a little bit of leniency on his defense. In this regard, there's a lot more to talk about. It has to be given to them because Fields is just ridiculous. So now I want to look at Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson, I think, is a clear upgrade. I think we all see it as a clear upgrade over Edmonds. Edmonds had some good running ability, terrible in the reception department. Wilson's had a few struggles over the years in his receiving skills, but he had 2 real nice receptions, one for a touchdown, and that was a real nice play there. And his running style, I like better than Edmonds. It's a little bit more forceful, a little harder one cut. Now, he doesn't have as much maneuverability. We'll see that in the film. But overall, this kid is a big, big upgrade. And him and Mostert's going to be able to get a little time off, I think, a little bit of rest to help prepare for this last big stretch. So I like the kid, and I think you're going to like the kid when you see the film. So let's take a look at the film and see what we see. He gets the handoff here, and watch this hole. This is the biggest hole I think I've seen all season. Maybe one top 2 or 3. And then he just blasts it. But it's nice to bend it out at the end here and pick up another 10 to 12. Just keep fighting. It wasn't a great run. It was a great hole. But that little finish there shows that he's an above-average back. I like that. He bends it here. And he has enough get up and go to pick up that extra yards. And I like that, but that was some hole. Then over here, this is my favorite run of the day. He bends it back, uses the hand to break the little stiff arm slap, and then he pops it outside again, double clutches the ball. Good run. This is a pitch outside, and then he just doesn't read Tehran taking his guy down. I thought he should have bounced this one outside. He gets all caught up in there. It's a little nitpicky, but that's what I thought. This was his biggest play, though. This was beautiful. That's a low pass, scoops it up, the hand to the ground. That's a running back coach's dream. Then he gets the pass outside and uses a little speed to make the guy miss there. It's a little bit of juke, but that was poor angle, man. That was an ugly angle, but nice little move there. A lot of what Wilson's going to do, and Mostert, except for that edge, Mostert's faster, and most running backs in this league is based on blocking. Now, I'm going to get into the O-line next to show you what the deal was. But you could see there was some nice holes for him. He made some big yards. But if you took that away, really, it wasn't a good day. But it's not on him. There was certain moments where I was like questioning, well, maybe he could have had a better option, taken a different direction. You know, maybe he could have read something a little bit earlier. But that's not what he is. That's not what we should expect him to be. He's a quality, above-average back that, given the right opportunity and the blocking, the holes for the blocking and the lanes opened up for him, he's going to do well. But he needs the blocking. And the problem is that the blocking just isn't there for a few reasons. And I'll get into that next. But his hands in this game was a small little sample size, but it really helped us out a ton. And there's a little bit of a ferocity on his cuts that I like. Sometimes there's a little bit of a lack of patience. But, you know, we got to let him get used to these blockers, get used to how it feels. You know, it sounds weird, but when you get a new offensive line, it's like a new girlfriend. You could be married or a wife. You could be married to somebody for a long time, and you're just used to that person. And then something happens, you get divorced, or they die, and then you got to grab that. It's like a whole new thing. You're like, I haven't dated in 50 years yet, and I'm going on my first date. It just doesn't feel right. And so he's got a whole new line. He came in. He needs a few weeks to get used to this line, and it'll be interesting to see. Now, one last caveat. Chicago is terrible against the run. Roquan was gone, and it made him even worse. And it was kind of a shame that we weren't able to generate the running lanes and the run yards. I don't blame the backs, though, at all. Really has got to be about this offensive line. And I'm going to get into it here and show you. But I'm not going to be able to do the whole thing. I'm just really going to focus on Jones and Shell. Now, Shell, for the most part, does a good job in his run blocking. He had like one or two things I think I'll show you there where he could have done better. It's the pass blocking that does still concern me. People will say, well, okay, just take a look at his traits here and you'll see something a couple of times. And if you go back to all his other games, you'll see it a couple of times, and you'll see it accentuated in his first game against the Jets. And some people say it's because he's on the left side, and there's a little bit of truth to that. Part of it is the Jets are just really good at pass rushing. But another part is that trait, that lack of a strength in that trait does get exposed. Now, I think he should move inside. And then the question would be, okay, if he does not, who does? I don't think Jackson should. He can't run block. He was terrible there last year, but maybe. We'll see. But right now, Robert Jones is there. And we have to take a look to see what we make of him. And I'll let the film say what it says. So let's take a look at the film and see what we see. All right, so you can see there's a little pitch out over here, and it kind of gets shut down and turned to nothing. But watch Jones. He's got to get to the second level. He does a nice little tap to help Connor, but just whiffs on that. And Olay, and that's not good. Then you see him here on the inside. He reaches so much, he opens up that center between him and Connor, the split between 93, and gets the pressure. Again, over here, you can see this is not his fault. I like this one. He sandwiches with Connor, gets the L level, and drives his guy out. But really, there was a lot more going on here than him. But I like that little play on by Jones. Then over here, you can see he doesn't help Teron. He's so desperate to get to that second level. I don't know why, because that's the heart of the play. He's got to do a little bit more to help Teron out. Because over here, you can see, look, he's got the angle. He gives a little stab, but that's still not enough because See what happens here. He's got to give the shoulder and then go. Over here, he's got the leverage advantage, but he just steps wrong, and then he loses the angle and gets beat. And I didn't like the way Mostert took this one. He should have gone to the right. I thought there was a better lane there. Then over here, you can see Shell. Look, he gets the inside move, and he gets swept. His hands get swept away, and he allows the pressure. It's the nimbleness of his feet that really concerns me at right tackle. Over here, usually pretty good in the run game, but he just totally whiffs on 15, runs past him, and he notices it immediately, and he turns around and realizes he made a mistake. Now, I'm not going to say he's a bad run blocker, but just want to show that one play. And then over here, it's another one. Look, he gets beat on the outside move, and then the comeback inside, and he just gets taken, and that's just easy. And this is not a great edge player that he's facing. Again, you can see over here, he's just late on arrival. Like, they get the take back, and the outside peel gets around him, and he just can't handle it. He doesn't have the speed to handle that much open space. Shell clearly lacks that nimbleness to readjust his body weight on the fly, on quick moves. He gets beat inside, outside, on the edge rather quickly. And if I could do a bigger study, I could show you how McDaniel really helps him out a lot. And I think that just because of this one weakness, and it's to his blind side, and you're going to be facing stouter pass rushes along the way, that's going to accentuate this issue in his trait. Remember, you might see a small little issue in a trait, but that trait is being exposed by lesser talent. The more talent that trait faces, the larger the margin of failure will be. And I think that's the key to keep in mind. Now, I always leave room that I could be wrong, but to me, Jackson's just a little more nimble, and he lacks the strength. So moving him inside is kind of taking Shell and Jackson and taking their one good traits, which Shell is strength and size, and not really utilizing it the most by putting it at left guard. And then Jackson, his best trait is his agility and movability, and you're putting him inside where he can't really run block. But that movement skill could help with the edge speed from rushers. So that's what I think. And then you saw Jones. I like Jones. I don't know if I like him in the zone stretch. Now, there's a few things he's going to have to learn. You can see he didn't help with Tehran a couple of times. He's a lumbering kind of guy. He moves pretty well for a giant, but I don't know well enough to get to that second level. You could see him kind of cheating on help to try to get to the second level and still not really being able to do it. Overall, there was some moments of good stuff that I saw, but this lack of speed on a zone stretch to get wide, there's a couple times where he had leverage and he just couldn't maintain as much as I'd like. And to get to that second level, I think it really puts him in the backup role for now, and maybe some more marination and maybe a little conditioning down the road. But for me, I think his weaknesses will get exposed. And I still stick with Tehran, my man Tehran, Shell, Connor, Hunt, and Jackson. And I think if you really do a study, you could see the help that McDaniel and this offense brings to Shell. They could do the same thing for Jackson. And then you could have four guys that can run block. And then you'd have Jackson, who you can always help at every different level. And you could spend most of your time running left. So for me, this is the thing I think we must do. Put Shell there and put Jackson at right tackle. Some people don't agree. We will see. That's the beauty of it. So last little thing I want to do here is I want to get into Kohou. To me, when you're an undrafted free agent, you're a walk-on. And I love walk-ons. I did my little college thing, and I walked on, and I have a true appreciation for guys that aren't given anything, and they have to scrap and fight it out to get whatever they want. And Kohou came on, and I kind of like snoozed on a little bit because I always got to see him in, I got to see rookies go against pro talent. I had a bunch of people saying, oh, no, God, Kohou. I said, okay. But man, when I first saw him play, he popped. This kid is a good player, and I really like him. So let's take a look at the tape, see what we see. There's Kohou shooting between the two blockers to make that tackle. That's a beautiful and aggressive play. Look at that. Gets his way around, shoots inside. It could have been dangerous if he didn't make it. That was nice. Then he kind of misses this one here a bit, but you can't really kill him on that. Then there's this outside pass. You can see he's a little bit slow in his step. Look at that space. I mean, I'm not going to make a whole book on it, but a little bit slow. It makes me wonder how much man he could play. And I love this one. Just pops off out of over coverage and just dials in on him like a torpedo. Stops the first down, man. That was a great play right there. That's why I see this guy in zone, man, big time. Another one here. He shoots and hits, wraps around the legs, dead stop. That's just a high-quality tackle. I love that. I love that. This guy is a real player. He has great tackling technique. He had the one missed tackle. I like how he has good explosion coming out of his stance. Perfect for zone. He's good at getting inside and doing a little jam and action. He does trouble me a little bit on his long-term pursuit when he's got to go from side to side. I don't think he has the explosion to sit in man all day to play R0. I mean, I think the kid needs some time to prove that he can't. But ultimately, I just see zone coverage as a major staple for this kid. And I think we can have a zone with some man. We could also have some man with dash of zone inside, individual guys playing man. Kind of what we used to run years ago, that hybrid 3-4-4-3 look. I really think we need to go to that because I don't think we're going to be able to keep Byron Jones, and we're going to have to get somebody to sit on an island. And if Kohou could do it, it's a killer. It's killer for us. But if he can't, it's going to – and then you got always X with the injuries and whatever. And I don't really trust that. For this season, we have no choice. And I think Kohou, I think Byron Jones, whenever he gets here, and X is going to alter this defense to be more what it's designed to do. And I think it's going to rise in its talents. The long term, I think personnel reasons, I think we need to make the move. And Kohou is the cornerback to base our future on. I love this kid. I really, really do. I think we are so lucky. It was a steal. You got to tip your hat off to Chris Greer and the staff for finding this kid because this kid is a player. Anyway, let me know what you think. This has been a long podcast. I know it's a long one, but I'm going to break it up. I'll put the titles and all that so you know the deal. Anyway, hopefully this works. I think I can get more stuff done when I do this and then dice it up. So anyway, thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to send, if you can, friends on social media to tell us about our social media thing. That's what I don't know. We got social media stuff, and the tech guys are telling me to remind you of that. I guess I got to ask them what that really means because I don't think I even know. Anyway, catch you next time. Be well. 6-3 Fins. One game out of first place. Beautiful. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.